In this video, we're going to look at cumulative frequency graphs. So we're going to split this into two sections. I'm first going to show you how to draw a cumulative frequency curve, and then we're going to look at some examples where you have to interpret a cumulative frequency graph that's already been drawn, so how we use the graph. All right, so here's some data, and this is from a question we looked at before, where we've got some students have tried to draw an angle of 70 degrees, and we've got a table that's recording what they actually drew. And we want to draw a cumulative frequency graph of this. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is construct or calculate a cumulative frequency column with all the values. So we're saying how many students have drawn up to each of these points. So it is just 6 for the first one. So 6 students drew an angle of up to 60 degrees. And then for the number of students who drew an angle up to 65, it's 6 plus 15, so that's 21. And then up to 70 degrees, we just add in the next 13, which gets us up to 34. Add in the next 11, and that's 45. Add in the next 8, and it's 53. And finally add those 7, it's 60. Okay, so here are the cumulative frequency values, and they show us how many students drew angles up to various points. And what we're plotting in our cumulative frequency graph is the cumulative frequencies against the upper bounds. So for the first one, we're plotting 6 against 60. So 60 on the x-axis here and 6 on the y-axis. So that tells me that 6 students plotted angles up to that point. The next one I plot is 65, the upper bound here, against 21. So 65 against 21. And then 70 against 34. So 70 and 34. 75 against 45. So 75 and 45. 80 against 53. And 85 against 60. Okay, one last thing I should do is, since the data starts at 55, that's where my graph should start as well. And now what we need to do is connect these with a smooth curve as we can. So we try to draw a nice freehand curve, so don't get the ruler out for this. Our curve should go through all of the points in as smooth a manner as you can make. So yeah, don't use a ruler for this. Okay, so there's a cumulative frequency graph for the number of students who drew angles of various sizes. Okay, so that's how we construct them. Much more common though is that you're just given a cumulative frequency graph and you need to use it to work some things out. So let's have a look at that. Okay, so the examination marks obtained by 1,200 candidates are illustrated on a cumulative frequency graph, where the data points are joined by a smooth curve. Use the curve to estimate the interquartile range. Okay, so in order to find the interquartile range, we're going to need to figure out what the positions of the quartiles are. And if you have 1,200 students or candidates, then the quartile positions of the quartiles are going to be it's a quarter of 1,200, which is 300. So the lower quartile will be the 300th candidate, and the upper quartile will be 3/4 of the way through the data, which is 900. So what we need to do here, we can see that here is the kind of the range of candidates, or the list of candidates, if you like, from 0 or from 1 up to 1,200. And the position of the 300th student is here. So what we need to do is we need to draw a line out from 300 to the graph and then down, and that will tell us what mark they got. So here has a little animated version. It's a bit neater than me trying to draw it. So the line comes out from 300. Well, it hits the curve, we go down, and we look at what that point is and try to be as accurate as you can here. So really careful lines with a ruler. It's common for students to lose mark just from not being accurate enough. So that's exactly halfway between those 2 points. So that's 40, 42, 44, and half a space is takes us up to 45. So the lower quartile is 45, and it is just an estimate because we don't know how the data is spread out in this range. And the upper quartile, I'll draw a line out from 900 and then down to the graph, and that looks like it's bang on 70. So that means that my upper quartile is 70. So the interquartile range is upper quartile minus lower quartile, which is 25. So there's an estimate for the interquartile range of the marks. All right, next one. I'll clean my graph so that there's space for the next one. Can we estimate X if 40% of the candidates scored more than X marks? All right, so we're looking for the top 40%. Well, 40% of 1200 is 0.4 times 1200, which is 480. So we're looking for the top 480 students. Now, the cumulative frequency is counting from the bottom up rather than from the top down. So the top 480 students, we need to count down from 1200. So if I do 1200 minus 480, that gives me 720. So I'm looking for the 720th student. So I just find 720, which is here, and draw a line out from there down to the axis below and try to see as accurately as I can what point that is. So 60, 62, and it's halfway to the next one, so 63. So what this suggests is that the mark X is 63. So 40% of candidates scored a higher mark than 63. Okay, finally, the number of candidates who scored more than 68 marks. I'll just clean the graph again. Now, if you were doing this, you can have all of these lines on the same graph. It's just as I'm explaining it, it's a bit easier to separate them. So in this case, the number of candidates who scored more than 68 marks, rather than drawing from the left-hand side to the graph and down, I'll draw from the bottom up to the graph. So I find 68. Careful, these are going up in two. So 62, 64, 66, 68 is here. Draw a line up, draw a line across, and see what this is. So we've got 860, that looks like to me. So, well, but I need to be careful because it's a number of candidates who scored more than this. So 860 candidates scored up to that point. But I need the number of students who scored more than that. So that's going to be 1200 minus 860, and that is 340. Okay, so that's how we can use the cumulative frequency curves to discover all sorts of things about the data. All right, one last question, and quite a tricky one. So it is subsequently discovered that the candidates' marks in the range 35 to 55 were evenly distributed. That is, roughly equal numbers of candidates scored 35, 36, 37, and so on. What does this information suggest about the estimate of the interquartile range from part 1? All right, so it's candidates in the range 35 to 55, so it's from here to here. And it's saying it's evenly distributed. Now, we've got this little curve in the graph because we are trying to connect all the points smoothly. But if the candidates are spaced evenly in that range, then it should be a straight line between these points. So that means that my graph should have looked like this with a straight line there. Now, how does that affect my answer? Well, remember that for my lower quartile last time, I drew a line across like that. And before, it hit the graph at this point here, and then I drew a line down to find my lower quartile. But if in fact the curve should have been a straight line here, it would have actually hit the graph there. And if I drew a line down from here, I would get about 42 rather than about 45. So previously I had an upper quartile of 70 and a lower quartile of 45 and got an interquartile range of 25. But now My upper quartile unchanged, but my lower quartile is smaller. It's more like 42. So that would give me an interquartile range of 28. So what we can say is, what does this information suggest about the estimate of the interquartile range in part 1? Well, we would say it was too small. It was too small, and we'll give a reason, since Q1 would have been lower. And again, just the reason it would have been lower is that if the students' marks were distributed evenly in this gap, it wouldn't have had this curve, it would have just been a straight line, and that would have pushed this intersection point back a little bit, giving us a slightly lower quartile, and that would have increased the interquartile range, and hence my estimate before was a little bit too small. Okay, hopefully that was a useful refresher of what you might have known from GCSE, and I hope it pushed it on a little bit further so that you're comfortable answering the slightly more sophisticated A-level questions on cumulative frequencies.